Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Hello, welcome to the first edition of Keeper's Corner Podcast for the 2022-2023 season. I would like to apologize for being away for so long. I know I talked before we left about trying to get some players on for interviews over the summer, and that never materialized, mostly because of me spending my free time hopping all over the state, seeing some of the beautiful sights to see and going on hikes or just not being around. And yeah, fully on me. But we're back. We're going to see what we can do this season. And at the moment, Brandon and Michelle aren't with me, so I am joined by the FC fanatic, Matt Huber. Matt, say hello.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be back.
Good to have you back as the fanatic.
Yes, I'm very excited. The Blue Wig is coming out of retirement, so dust it off and ready to go.
Well, Matt, since we last talked about Utica City, a lot of things have happened. Brandon, Michelle, and I touched on Ryan Hall not being renewed. I believe Everton had been announced as the head coach at that point. Different style of play, obviously, and you can tell that from how the team is built this year. We have a lot of players that aren't back. We have a lot of new faces, as we saw today at the split squad scrimmage there with USA versus the world.
Yeah, definitely a change in the air in Utica today. Definitely different styles of play. Rosters, as you said, rosters going to look a little different. But I think it's all for the better. A lot of pieces are still with the team, and our core players are still here. So I think we build from there, and we'll have definitely a good season on our hands.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be a good one, hopefully. Season starts up less than a week from today, although technically the MASL season has already started with the Comets and Ambush. But no one else in the league has played, so.
Yeah, definitely. If it's anything like the Comets and Ambush games this weekend, it's going to be a great season from top to bottom. So you're probably going to see teams that shouldn't win games, like a Harrisburg beating a Baltimore, which would be great if they do that every time. But yeah, definitely good soccer scene this weekend, not just from the Comets Ambush, but from the preseason game today.
I guess before we get into the preseason today and what the roster currently is, let's talk about who's gone, because we had a lot of departures. Ben Raymond is now in Milwaukee. Moises Gonzalez is now in Baltimore. Jake Schindler has not technically hung up his turf shoes for the last time because he is now coaching the Rochester Lancers in M2. Lot of veteran experience right there lost between those three.
Absolutely. Definitely interesting to see Ben Raymond going to Milwaukee. Interesting story about that. So Tim Goldman coaches a high school team in Syracuse, Manlius Pebble Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And his assistant coaches are Brian Wilkin and Ben Raymond. Well, I went to their sectional championship game. This was last month, and saw all three of them. And I was talking to Brian and Ben about the season and how I'm excited and how we're excited and this, that, and the other thing. And 2 days later, the announcement comes that Ben Raymond signs with Milwaukee. I was like, you didn't want to tell me that before? But yeah, both the players, all three of them. I mean, I've seen play for quite a while now. Yeah, Moises, I mean, coming off an ACL injury, Baltimore's getting a great player there, obviously. Good to see Jake Schindler continuing his career in the coaching world. And yeah, Ben was a stalwart in the back. So a lot of our defense has left.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think we'll probably get into this later, but I think defense is going to be the key this season.
Yeah. Just a lot of losses there on that back end. Even though Toby was there today and played because it was a scrimmage, he was allowed to. He still held up with visa issues, which is it's frustrating, and it's also pretty sad that that's what things have gotten to under both administrations over the past few years.
So here's the thing with that. So I'm kind of thinking ahead, maybe. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So some of the Florida guys, Heiner House, I think Tiago Freitas, Ricardo Diegues, I think those guys that have visa issues
mm-hmm.
have signed with an M2 team. I think they signed with the Iowa Raptors, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So, I mean, if Toby wants to still play, I mean, the opportunity's there in Rochester.
Right.
And then if anything clears up with visas, then they can bring them up from there.
Mm-hmm. Which it's weird that they'd be allowed to play in M2 but not M1.
Yeah, I don't get the whole visa thing, but I've heard they're working on it on a daily basis, and we've heard that for 2 years now. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens, if anything.
Like we said, there's been a lot of turnover in the roster this year. We do have a lot of returnees. Both goalkeepers are back, and Coughlin and Wilkin. Our defense is where we're probably going, like we've said, probably going to see the most change. Logan's back. Batali's back. We saw Petrera today, although he's not listed as an active player at the moment. I imagine that's kind of going to be like last year, where he's more of an unofficial assistant coach and pops in when he needs to. And then Dylan Hundelt, who we signed from Harrisburg. And those are the only defenders listed on the roster at the moment. Then we get into the midfield. We've got Segura and Bordeaux, and Swift is back. Rafa has returned as well, who, as long as he keeps getting under defenders' skin like last year, happy to have him on the team.
Wasn't Bo listed as a defender?
At the moment, he's listed as a forward. But he did fall back and play defense last year in the second half when we had all those injuries. And it wouldn't surprise me if he plays out of the back again this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's where he got his start when he was in Syracuse. He was a defender. So yeah, that wouldn't surprise me as well, because we do have a lot of talent up front. Joey, obviously,
mm-hmm.
And then some of the other. Timmy, obviously, can get behind the defense, and
mm-hmm.
So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Bo played in the back for a while.
Yeah, at the moment, our top target guys look like they'll be Joey Tavernisi, Tim Goldman, and then probably the biggest signing of the offseason, Gordy Gerson, along with Ronnie and Somau as the other forwards on the roster, and Wanalaba. Then we have a few guys that don't have positions listed in Cesar Correa, Keaton Woods, and Ricky Alves at the moment.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Gordy, because like we said, he's probably the biggest signing of the offseason for this team.
I mean, to be honest, I think it's for me, I think both signings. I think Dylan Hundelt is a scrappy defender.
Mm-hmm.
Loved watching him play. And he comes from an MASL family. His dad was in the league years and years ago. And then Gordy, I mean, I've watched him play for Cedar Rapids, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these different teams, and I think the key for Gordy, I think he needs a full season. A lot of these seasons, he was hurt and was out for games at a time. I think a healthy Gordy is huge for the success of the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely needed another scoring threat last year, so I mean, why can I not find you on the list? Sorry, I'm comparing the rosters to our roster sheet from today. So for anyone that missed the split squad scrimmage today, each side had 18 players. The roster can only have 26, so there were 36 people trying out. We know roughly who 20-ish of them are. So at that point, it's pretty much about filling out the bottom 6 spots on the roster, just depth signings. I guess weirdly enough, we'll talk about this quick, is that the Utica City's draft picks from the first combine, Archie Filleter, Wilver Crespo, and Jose Herrera were nowhere to be found. However, the number 1 overall pick, who was from the Tacoma Stars draft pick, Alexander Gomez, suited up for Team USA. So I got no idea what that's about.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how that transpired. I'm sure it was cash considerations type deal with the Stars. So
I guess we'll keep an eye on social media over the next few days and see what gets announced from Utica City as far as who the roster fills out with. But it was a good showing today. World won 8-3, and just nice to have some soccer back in Utica.
Yeah, it's definitely great to have soccer back, and I was talking to Tommy Tanner after the game, and he said all of these guys that played today would have great futures in the MASL, and it's going to be a tough decision on who gets offered a contract. But yeah, everyone played great today, I thought.
Yeah, I you could see the rust in the first quarter, more so to just trying to get up to full speed. I don't know if we even saw full speed in the second half, but that fourth quarter when the World team just came out and dominated, I'd like to hope that's what we're going to see, because Team World was coached by Everton, whereas Team USA was under assistant coach Casey Murphy. So maybe that's just different styles of play, and it looked like Everton had the number there in the second half.
Yeah. World definitely broke down the U.S. defense there in the second half, and I mean, some of the goals were hustle goals. I mean, one that comes to mind is the game winner, Bo, just going up against the boards, grabbing a ball from Wilkin, put it in the back of the net. Those are the types of goals that we definitely need. The hustle goals is what will, I mean, turn a 1-goal game into, I mean, a 1-goal deficit to tying or even like giving us the lead. So very important. Very important we get those hustle goals.
Yeah, that was something that was missing in the first half of last year. But, you know, you're not always going to win by being the better team. Sometimes you just have to. It comes down to which team hustles more.
Yep, absolutely.
It's that any team, any given Sunday.
Exactly. Or Friday or Saturday or whenever you play.
There's that one Wednesday game.
Yes.
After last year, if we get to 500, I think most fans will be content. I know the way last year ended left a bad taste in my mouth just because we missed the playoffs. But overall, the way the second half improved from the first half felt really good about the way things were going.
Absolutely. And I think a key or to gauge how our season will be, I think first 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think like you said last year, towards the end of the season, we were coming on strong. Lucky that we didn't make the playoffs. The other teams are lucky we didn't make the playoffs because we were one of the hottest teams going in. Um, so will that momentum carry over to, like I said, the first 3 games?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, realistically, 2-1, possibly 3-0. Like if we take it from Baltimore Saturday, and then we've got Harrisburg the next 2 games after that. So, yeah, I think the beginning part of the year will kind of be a gauge as to what to expect from them.
Right. And the Blast, I mean, they're the team that we see first. This coming Saturday at 6 p.m. at CQ Arena. Like we said, we're gonna see familiar faces in Moy and Obasi, and then the rest of the roster is just a lot of returning faces as well. Although Nascimento and Victor France are currently listed as inactive, there's Max Ferdinand, there's Juan Pereira, there's Jonatas Mello, Lucas Roque, everyone's favorite amateur proctologist Adriano Dos Santos.
And the 83-year-old Nelson Santana.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I think. Hold on. Ferdinand Shearer, Annan Keeley, Arabella's, Zierhofer.
Yeah, so with that,
I'm actually not seeing Santana on their active roster.
Oh, well, unfortunate. Also not on the active roster from what I heard. Is Vanzella not on the active roster?
Vanzella is also not on the active roster. They have Mike Zierhofer and Zach Hausler listed as active goalkeepers.
So, I mean, yeah, the Saturday, I mean, Zierhofer's a great backup. So,
yeah.
We'll thankfully not see Vanzella. So, but still.
Yeah, wonder what's going on there with Vanzella.
I've heard it's a health issue, but don't quote me.
Okay. I don't know. That'll be a good test to see where this team is at. Obviously with guys moving on, and we saw it in the second half last year, we're going to need more contributions from guys like Quentin Swift and Ronaldinho and Isak Somau and Tim Goldman. These guys that have gotten a year or two experience in the league, and we just got to see them take that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, throw Waddle in the mix. I think another key is these younger guys.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a year or two under their belt. Let's see what you got for this third year or second year. Let's see how much you've learned. Yeah, definitely interesting to see their contributions this season.
Then, like you said, the first 3 games are going to be that really feel it out, kind of see what the team looks like. I mean, we got to remember last year we did not win 1 game at Baltimore. Whereas in years past, it was, we'd win 2 at home and lose 1 at home, and we'd win 1 on the road and lose 2 on the road. So it was still a split series. But last year, Baltimore just dominated Utica, especially in CQ.
Yep. Yep. And a smaller field requires a lot of precision passing. One mistake and it could go the other way. And I think Everton's style of play kind of fits that. I mean, from a futsal background, that's you do a lot of passing and it definitely, I noticed that in the game today.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of passing, and that's exactly what you need, especially in CQ Arena. And they'll need that in the game against Chihuahua as well. Both very small fields.
Yeah. Looking at the Harrisburg roster for week 2, which I'm sure Brandon, Michelle, and I will get more into. Did you know that's where Andre Hoxie ended up?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that move. I mean, he had a great second half with Utica. So definitely interesting to see him reunite with Pat Healy. They did play for the Blast years ago, so it's interesting to see both of them back together.
Yeah,
good for him.
I guess quick notes on the season. It's back to a 24-game season. I know there had been some rumors at the end that one of the triumvirate was going to push for a 30-game season, and it did not happen. Utica gets 12 at home, 12 on the road, typical stuff.
Now, this is a balanced schedule, mind you.
Yes. Yeah. Baltimore, Harrisburg, Florida, Milwaukee, because of the realignment with 2 teams coming back instead of having 4 small divisions. We have 2 bigger ones, just east and west, with limited cross-country play this year, but still getting those cross-country trips in, which is nice.
Actually, it's all. I mean,
well, it's one trip, but you get 2 games at home and 2 games on the road from the other division.
Right. But the thing that gets me is, so we get Harrisburg 6 times, we get Baltimore 6 times. That's half our schedule.
Yeah.
We get Milwaukee 3 times, I think. We get Florida 3 times. We get St. Louis once. We don't get Kansas City. And then we have 4 games against the West. At home against Empire Strikers, Mesquite, and then the Mexico trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's interesting that if they wanted it to be somewhat balanced, have them play at least every team in their division once or twice.
Yeah, because they're 7-7, so you would get 12 right there just playing home and home with everyone in your division.
Yep.
And then if you go cross country, like they're doing 2-2, now you're at 16 games, so you got 8 games to fill out. And they're like, well, we know how to do that. You can play these same 2 teams 4 more times each.
Have fun. Yeah, and it's kind of, I hate to do this to Harrisburg, but I mean, for the whole playoff scheme of things, we get Harrisburg 6 times. Milwaukee doesn't get Harrisburg 6 times.
Yeah.
St. Louis doesn't get Harrisburg 6 times. So it's just kind of, it's skewed a little bit, I think. But
yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting. So I think part of the reason we're playing those 2 so much is because they're the closest, and we know last year was another dip in attendance, still partially due to COVID protocols around the league. So I just checked the first 2 games of the year since they match up with last year. You get the Black Friday game in St. Louis every year, and then they go play the Comets the next day. The Black Friday game in St. Louis actually saw unfortunately, a drop of about 500 in attendance, whereas the Comets had a huge boost, seeing almost 1,600 more fans this year over last year.
wow,
Which that's a good sign.
Very good.
I'm sure having Ted Lasso there in the crowd helped.
Well, yeah, I think he needs to show up at every arena at least once.
Well, definitely the one that has the shirts that say "Believe" and did a Ted Lasso day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
At the minimum.
Minimum.
And then don't go sit in a box with your fancy friends. Come down to be with the real people. Get rowdy.
Get rowdy.
Teach us to believe.
Yes, we need it.
Yeah, everyone, tune in next Saturday to watch the game. Games are back on Twitch. We should mention that because we know how much of an issue that was last year. The ball is the same yellow one that they ended the year with, so hopefully there won't be the injury concerns again.
Let's hope.
Fingers crossed, and then we're not dealing with the slippery balls from 2 years ago.
That's a controversy that's just gonna continue to be in the books for years on end. 20 years from now, people will still be talking about that.
The old slippery ball thing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to say, Matt. I don't know about you.
I can't think of anything. It's just great to be back in the odd with everybody. Great to see the guys back. Ready to show the league what we can do. I think a lot of teams out there are doubting. They're doubting us.
Mm-hmm.
Making the playoffs. And I think this team is a good mix of young players and veterans. And we're going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas made the playoffs last year. I don't know if they do that again. I don't know how many players left Dallas and went back to Mesquite.
Not a lot.
I don't know. It looks like Dallas is almost starting all over. Or Mosquitoes. Hey, look, they have our buddy Pablo back.
Yeah, Pablo is on Mesquite.
They have ex-MLB slugger David Ortiz. He
Yep.
played for Dallas last year.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Aguirre. Jorge De Leon.
De Leon got traded to Mesquite from the Empire Strikers.
Yes.
So
they got some veteran leadership at least, but
yeah, I still think Dallas has a lot of talent. And yeah, they made it last year.
they still got Gamboa, so that'll make a.
They've got Gamboa. They got Jamie Lovegrove coming back.
Cody Ellis.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see that rivalry back again.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Dallas has the upper hand.
That'll be back. It'll be interesting to see how Monterey and Chihuahua play out after. Again, Monterey was out of the league last year.
So funny story. I was talking to Christian Segura after the game,
mm-hmm.
and I was telling him about how I'm going down to Monterey, and he was telling me that, I mean, some of the guys from Chihuahua went back to Monterey.
Yeah.
But he still says Chihuahua's the much better team, which I find to be interesting. I would think it was the other way around, but coming from him saying that.
They kept Cañas, who he was a force to be reckoned with there with Solas a couple years ago, and Valdivinos is still there in goal.
Yeah, Brian Aguilar went back to Monterey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he told me.
Have you seen the Flash's jersey for this year?
I have.
Because if they're the ones that are on social media, I really like them.
Yeah.
Or not social media, on the website, because unlike Utica and Baltimore and Harrisburg that I've looked at, both the Savage and the Flash have their team's pictures. The full team has, their media day are already done. Pictures are already on the website. The Flash's jerseys are pretty nice.
Yeah.
The lightning bolt on the blue, the fire on the red.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a nice looking jersey.
When you make that trip, I may have to throw you some money to get one of the Savage jerseys, because they got a lot of detail on them.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you for taking the time to chat with us, to chat with me, since this was kind of spur of the moment.
No worries. Anytime.
Brandon and Michelle weren't feeling well enough to make the trip to the game today, so. And then, less than a week and we have soccer back.
Yeah. 6 days. Can't wait.
No one will believe that.
I know, right?
Oh, no, I just threw out my napkin from dinner from where I sit at my computer desk across the living room to the garbage in the kitchen and made it. And no one will ever believe that, because I am uncoordinated and clumsy. And of course, when I pull off the one lucky athletic thing.
I was here. I didn't see it, but I was here.
All right. I'm going to go get into some leftover Thanksgiving dessert before it goes bad.
There you go. I will be venturing off to Dreamland for a 7:00 alarm.
Woo! All right. Thank you again. Thank you to everyone for listening. We'll be back hopefully every Thursday, as long as we can get our recording schedule all set up for Wednesdays again. If not, you know where to find us on social media. I'll be honest, I've been way more active on the Twitter account and have basically done nothing on the Facebook one.
By the way,
Yes.
In the Box has moved to Twitch as well. Twitch.tv/In the Box Corn Dog.
In the Box Corn Dog, noted. Yes, so make sure you go there, you subscribe, you follow them along.
Yep.
Get the little notifications on so you don't miss their shows, because they're goofy and they're fun. And we love Adam, and we love Matt.
Oh, shucks. But yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So, well, I guess that does it for us here for real this time. Thank you again for listening, everyone. Yeah. And let's go UCFC.
That's right.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica!